right, it is now 6:13 p.m. The sky was beautiful today, and I expect it to be so throughout the evening for the NGC 1550 to 1599 series. And all right, I'm going to center this one up and use it as a synchronization so we get better centering on studies. But this is NGC 1550 in Taurus. All right, this is NGC 1550, quite visible in the 30x field, so you'd expect it to be quite a bit brighter than magnitude 14. In fact, this is a galaxy in Taurus. It's also NGC 1551. It's considered magnitude 12, 2.9 by 1.9 arc-minute-sized elliptical, 165 million light years, puts it about 110,000 light years in diameter. We're at RA 41938 with a declination of +2, 2434. We've already had 8 stacks. Let's push the magnification up, get that view at 150x. The stars look pretty good. The sky is reasonably stable tonight. I did some imaging of Jupiter, not the best, but not the worst. And let's move on to NGC 1552 and see what it might be and whether or not we can actually access it. NGC 1550 to NGC 1599. El Quattro's Tour. Okay, let's see if we can make this one out in the field. There's something vague right about there. And we would expect it to be brighter than magnitude 14 by a bit. It's actually NGC 1552. It's a galaxy in Eridanus. It is magnitude 12.9, 1.8 by 1.2 arc-minute spiral with a lowercase a. 220 million light years distant, puts this one at about 125,000 light years in diameter. RA is 4/2017, declination is ± 41 minutes and 35 seconds. I'm hoping we'll get to at least bright ascension 4 hours 26 minutes and plus change this evening. And a quick 150x view with 11 stacks right now. Okay, NGC 1554 is a rather vague nebula in Taurus. There's no information available on it. I do believe I imaged it earlier last night. And as we zoom in and get a few more stacks behind us, it may turn up right next to this bright star, and I'm beginning to see it now. It'd be a fun one to sit down and play with and determine its magnitude, because there's no magnitude value here. We're at RA 42156 with a declination of +19, 32 minutes and odd seconds. It does help to pixelate more of the nebulosity. You can see it right there next to this probably 7th magnitude star. Well, this particular nebula, there was no motion on the part of the mount. It does have an extension that was probably discovered by someone else. For instance, look over here to the south of this 7th or 8th magnitude star. There's nebulosity, and then there's nebulosity to the west. That hints at the fact that probably the first discovery was this nebula because it was slightly brighter, and then a larger scope came along and discovered this one. NGC 1555, nebula in Taurus. It's 0.5 arc-minutes in diameter, with purely reflective, 490 million light years distant. It's at 42156 with a declination of +19, 3203. Okay, with a diffraction bar here, probably covering a little bit of this next galaxy, NGC 1561. You can see it back there. There's another fainter one there. So which one is it? Well, this one is magnitude 15, 0.7 by 0.5 arc-minute lenticular spiral, which means you should have a bright core. 400 million light years distant. RA is 42301 with a declination of -1550, 46. I would expect us to also be able to see these 2 other galaxies this evening, but we did not pick out this one. Maybe we got it last night in the 1500 to 1549 series. Okay, with some little motion on the part of the mount, I don't expect us to see the other galaxy that was nearby. However, this is one of these here, and it's probably this one, is NGC 1562, a galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 15.1, a mere 0.5 by 0.5 arc-minute lenticular spiral, 408 million light-years distant, maybe 50,000 light-years in diameter. RA is 421.47 with a declination of minus 15.45.19. Let's get that 150x 100% E zoom view. Okay, a little bit of motion away. I think we're seeing a faint galaxy right there is NGC 1563, but that can't be it because we shouldn't be seeing it at a mere 30x. It's a galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 15.7 by 0.3 arc-minute. Yeah, there is a bit edgy on about this galaxy, isn't there? Must be, it's a spiral, so it's probably magnitude 14 visually. 416 million light-years distant, puts it at about 100,000 light-years in diameter. RA is 422.53 with a declination of minus 15.43.59 on a superb night of seeing transparency. Well, maybe not superb, but it's superb compared to most. All right, not too far away again is NGC 1564, a galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 15.4 lenticular spiral, so expected to be about magnitude 14.4 or 5. I'm not seeing it on the screen, although there's something vaguely hinted out there. Let's see if it makes any sense. Going up to our, well, we do. This, remember, we had this galaxy earlier. It was early 1550 something. This is probably the galaxy we're looking at. NGC 1564, galaxy Eridanus, 15.4 mag, 0.7 by 0.5 lenticular spiral, 411 million light-years distant, so probably about 90,000 light-years in diameter, Milky Way sized. RA 423 aught with a declination of minus 15.44.22. And we'll push it up a little bit for a high magnification, rime it, view. NGC 1565 probably won't be visible anywhere in the field, although we did see this one here, which was probably magnitude 14, astonishing given its southerly declination. We're looking for NGC 1565 in Eridanus in the same basic area, magnitude 15, but larger, 0.9 by 0.9. Spiral with a lowercase c, I suspect that doesn't have a very present core. 404 million light-years distant, so probably part of the same group of galaxies. RA is 423.23 with a declination of minus 15.44.40. It's probably a 14.4 magnitude galaxy. NGC 1565. Why not start out with an early evening view of Messier 43 in the center, NGCs 1973, 5, and 7, and of course this obscure little nebulosity here in star-forming region, Messier 42. Tonight we're going to be covering the rest of NGC. I'm going to make sure I get the numbers right on this. Rest of NGC 1500 to 1550 to 1599, and then we're going to launch off to 1600 to 1649 as a separate capture. But I wanted to start with our view here. Look at these interesting trails here. There's a convergence on that. I've rarely ever seen convergence. You've always seen parallels. Very intriguing. Let's move on. It is now 6:08 p.m. on the 6th of February. It'll be concatenated onto the 5th for the NGC 1550 to NGC 59 series. And this is a Friday night. Hope you're enjoying yours. Clearly, 6:10 in the evening on February the 6th is not going to be quite sky dark. And I can't promise that some high thin clouds aren't going to come through and obscure our view. But I can tell you that we are now tracking down ones I missed the last evening due to my own screw-ups. NGC 1568 is a galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 15, probably 14, 1.1 by 0.8 arc-minute spiral with lowercase a, 207 million light-years distant, RA 424.25, with a declination of minus 44 minutes and 47 seconds. I do believe we're seeing it right here in the field. I may go ahead and synchronize to it before moving on. Okay, this should be our synchronized view, although I do have to push the synchronization button of NGC 1568. Yeah, it's pretty much centered up. Let's stay with that. All right, lots of skippage here, too far south and too far north, and we should be looking towards the center of the field for, if we get past that 50%, we may be right there. NGC 1575 is also NGC 1577. It's a galaxy in Eridanus. Now, it's quite visible in the field, 1.5 by 1.3 arc minutes, but it's a spiral with a bar and a lowercase p. So this is probably our study. Now, it doesn't seem to have much of a core, so I don't know why it's just called a B, but it is a P. 418 million light years distant. That size puts it at about 175,000 light years in diameter. That's pretty seriously large. But the more immature a galaxy is, the tendency is to spread itself out a bit more, because gravitation plays such a huge role in the maturation of galactic cores and spiral arms, etc., etc. We're at RA 42620 with a declination of minus 100555. NGC 1576 is another galaxy in Eridanus, also quite faint, but not as faint as listed here, which is probably a photometric magnitude. Magnitude 15, 1.1 by 0.7 arc-minute size lenticular. 216 million light years distant means it's probably about 70,000 light years in diameter. RA is 42618 with a declination of minus 337.17, and there's a nice 75x view for you. NGC 1579 is that lovely replica of the Great Orion Nebula, but much more, not too much more distant, 2,100 light years in diameter. Let's center it up for our, I believe it's now at our 75x view. It's 3 by 3 arc minutes. It's a reflective type nebula, although it's got some redness to it. Usually they're whitish, probably the center possibly. 2,100 light years distant, right ascension 43014 with a declination of plus 351646, and this explains why I had to get an early start. I'm going to let it cook a little bit by pausing, and then give you a higher magnification view after we've got 12 stacks with one ignored, 65 seconds total exposure time. NGC 1580 is a galaxy in Eridanus. Its magnitude 14.5, 0.9 by 0.8 arc minutes. This is probably it. It looks very similar to one we saw earlier, but it's got a brighter core. Spiral with a lowercase bc, 190 million light years distant. RA is 42818 with a declination of minus 51046. Let's see if we push it a little bit and have a 150x view before. NGC 1582 is an open cluster in Perseus. We're getting a little reflected light off of Roof Tri. It's magnitude 7, 37 arc minutes in diameter, 20 stars, roughly. The brightest is magnitude 9. It's down here. We got some alignment issues this evening. It's a class 4-2. I don't know why it's an IV, because you can pick it out pretty well, but maybe it's because there's so many other stars in the Perseus region. After all, Perseus is in the Milky Way. 3,600 light years distant, RA 43153 with a declination of plus 43 degrees, 47 minutes, and 8 seconds. NGC 1583 could be obscured by some clouds, but it is minus 17 degrees. Pushing it up, 1583 is a galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 15, small. I do believe we're making it out, but I can't tell which of the two it is. Galaxy in Eridanus, 389 million light years distant, elliptical, so it's probably somewhere around 60,000 light years in diameter. RA is 42820 with a declination of minus 1735, 5. And since it's so small and faint, let's go ahead and have a deeper look. It's probably magnitude 15. It's probably this one right here, magnitude 13.5, but deep south in the visual range. NGC 1584 is another galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 13.8, 0.8 by 0.7 arc minutes. Could be in the same region as the last one, but the mount ran away heading west on me, which causes some kind of vexing problems, because if it happens and I lose the last galaxy viewed and I have to kind of remember where I was at. I suspect our galaxy is right here. It's a lenticular spiral, got a brightish core, but magnitude 13.8 should be brighter than that, except this is not a particularly good evening of skies. 399 million light years distant, 0.8 by 0.7, puts this at about 110,000 light years in diameter, RA 42810 with a declination of minus 1731.25. Hey, heading north a ways to NGC 1586 and a rather bright star. It's probably around magnitude 3 or 4. Anyway, I'm just guessing. NGC 1586, a galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 13.2, 1.7.9 arc minute, spiral with lowercase bc, 158 million light years distant. RA 43038 with a declination of minus 18 minutes and 16 seconds. Now, I want to point out something, and I'll back up. First, we'll go ahead and do a bit of a zoomage on this nice galaxy spread. I want to point out that one of the things you can do to find very difficult galaxies is to see if any of them are very close to bright stars and then navigate to the bright star. And this happens to be south and west, so if you were to go due southwest of this bright star, whatever it is, if you do the research on adventuresindeepspace.com, then it's a nice way to begin a tour of fainter galaxies in the sky, especially if you're having to push to your scope rather than using go to. Anyway, something to consider. Okay, not too far from our last galaxy, heading up into Taurus, however, as opposed to the river, is magnitude 11.7, NGC 1587, 1.7 by 1.4 arc minutes. Should be a challenge through a 6-inch scope. Should be able to see it through an 8. It's an elliptical one with perturbations, and maybe this other galaxy is the cause of the perturbations. Let's figure out how far away it is. 164 million light years. Now, I know about 150 million light years is a redshift of 0.01, so that's about what the redshift is, and that's in the color band's absorption spectra of the galaxy. We're at right ascent, magnitude 11.7, 1.7 by 1.4, 164 million light years, maybe 100,000 light years in diameter. We do have a satellite progressing. Right ascension is 4:30:39 with a declination of 39 minutes and 42 seconds. This satellite is going pretty much due east-west, so it is an equatorial satellite, and it's just spinning around the Earth's globe doing whatever it's doing, potentially imaging a car or a home near you. NGC 1588 was hardly a click away from NGC 1580. I believe it was 87. Anyway, our 75X view. This is a galaxy in Taurus, of course, magnitude 12.9. This one's more centered, but let's look at this. This galaxy here is more edge-on. This one's 1.4 by 0.8 arc minutes. This one's more to the center of the field, but tracking things may not work. It is also further to the east, so this is probably our galaxy right here. It's an elliptical, one with peculiarities? That doesn't look like an elliptical. This looks like an elliptical, and the last one was too. Could be the data. AdventuresInDeepSpace.com. 155 million light years distant, puts it with this other galaxy, whatever the two are, by assignment. RA is 4:30:43 with a declination of plus 39 minutes and 53 seconds. Let's have a higher magnification view, seeing that trailing satellite still heading off in that direction there, and there we go. Okay, hardly a motion at all, and of course now we get the layout here. This is our edgy-on galaxy, no doubt, NGC 1589. I'm waiting for the data to come up. 3.2 by 1 arc minute, a real beauty. Let's make sure we get that nice 75x view. I love the sunken appearance here. It almost looks like a parabolic radio telescope mirror. See that? How about that? Just had a satellite blow by. This one's 11.8, 3.2 by 1, spiral with a lowercase ab, so a fairly bright core. 169 million light years, part of the same group. RA is 4:30:45 with a declination of 51 minutes and 48 seconds, so this would have been our last galaxy. So the question then becomes, what was our previous galaxy? I am not seeing much else up there that's that bright. Peculiar. Anyway, nice part of the sky, NGC 1589 and a beautiful edge-on galaxy. I do want to say we have a nice warm evening tonight, and apparently that satellite is now gone to, or another one, NGC 1590, a galaxy of Taurus, but further north, so it's not likely to be the same one. Magnitude 13.7.9 by 0.7 arc minute, spiral with peculiarities. Alright, so let's go ahead and get that 150x view first. Look for those peculiarities. Magnitude 13.7.9 by 0.7, 175 million light years distant. Heading back down to our beauty shot. RA is 4:31:10 with a declination of plus 7 degrees, 37 minutes, 51 seconds. Heading further south, but still getting plenty of stars. For NGC 1191, Galaxy Eridanus, magnitude 14.3. It could be hinted at it. I'm seeing something faint there and also something faint there. So these are obviously brighter than magnitude 14.3. It's a lenticular spiral, which may also be why we can see it, because they usually have bright central cores and give that fuzzy nebulous appearance. It's 0.6 by 0.5 arc minute lenticular spiral, 417 million light years distant, maybe 80,000 light years in diameter. RA is 303.30. That doesn't make any sense. Declination is minus 1541.08. So that RA is just not right. Should be in the 4-hour range. Very strange. Anyway, so let's run it up a little bit. Hopefully this is 11. Oh, I know what happened. It stalled and I put the wrong value in. Hold on a second. Okay, let's get it right. This is NGC 1591, a galaxy in Eridanus. Magnitude 12.8, 1.2 by 1 by 0.8. We got 17 stacks on this. This was kind of nice. 181 million light years distant puts it at about, let's call it 60,000 light years in diameter. RA is 429.30. Now that makes sense, but the declination is deep south. Minus 26 degrees, 42 minutes, and 47 seconds. Here's our NGC 1591, and here's a study further to the east. Let's see if we go there next. Okay, without doing the hoppy, skippy, jumpy thing, this is likely to be NGC 1592, that galaxy in Eridanus. Excuse me. Nice warm night, though. Magnitude 13.7, 1.4 by 0.6 arc minutes, makes sense. Simply listed as a spiral. Pretty close, 43 million light years distant, but well outside the local group. RA is 429.40 with a declination of minus 27.24. We have gotten 28 stacks with none ignored on this pair. Let's back it out for the beauty shot and then move on from there. Headed north once again. Let's see if you can make this one out. NGC 1593 is also 1608. It's magnitude 13.4. I'm seeing it. Looks a little bit edgy on, and that's the case. 1.6 by 0.6 arc minute lenticular spiral, 167 million light years distant, probably somewhere around 90 to 100,000 light years in diameter. We're at RA 432.06 with a declination just barely above the celestial equator of 34 minutes and 1 second. Now we get that edgy on view at 150x. Boy, it's got a kind of a handedness to it, doesn't it? All right, there's our NGC 1593. NGC 1594, I'm seeing a pair of galaxies there. An Eridanus, Magnitude 14, 1.8 by 1.3 arc minute. Spiral with a bar, lowercase bc, 192 million light years distant, probably about 110,000 light years in diameter. This could be a star, but it has nebulosity around. We're at right ascension 430.51 with a declination of minus 547.53. I do want to look into this a little bit. That's probably a star right there, but here's our NGC 1594. Okay, we're on to NGC 1597, another galaxy in Eridanus, magnitude 15, probably 14 because it's a lenticular spiral, 0.9 by 0.7 arc minutes, 447 million light years distance, about the size of the Messier 31, 150,000 light years in diameter. But keep in mind, it's lenticular, so it's got a lot of maturation, a lot of gravitational collapse and star formation. This baby is probably maybe 3 or 4 times the mass of the Great Andromeda Galaxy, which I believe has something like, I don't know, look it up, 500 million stars in it compared to the 200 or 300 million we have, but don't quote me. All right, so we're at right ascension 431.13 with a declination of minus 1117.26. Give it a shot at a higher magnification, get a little sense of extension, and bail. Okay, now we're on to the final study of the evening. I've already got a tag. I did that last night, and you'll see it when I put these 2 videos together last night and then finishing up this evening. I think I left off at 1564, and I started at 1658, and now we're ending at NGC 1599, a galaxy in Eridanus. Wow, lots of stars. Now, I can see the galaxy there. I'm sure you can too. Magnitude 13.7, 0.9 by 0.8. It's a spiral with a lowercase c. So not much of a core, 180 million light years distant. Puts it, say, 75,000 light years in diameter. RA is 431.38 with a declination of minus 4 degrees, 35 minutes, 19 seconds. So I'm going to let this cook a little bit. There are other galaxies in the region. The stars are looking pretty tight tonight. And if we press the magnification up and center up both the galaxies at 150x, this will be the final galaxy or study in the NGC 1550 to 1599 tour. And the tour is simply meant to capture information and visions of various studies. Oh, there's an edgy on right there too. So that later on, by reviewing them, myself or you or anyone who's interested can pick out what you would best like to see in terms of galaxies. I know everybody loves edge-ons. And I know elliptical galaxies don't offer much in the way other than their bright core and fading off into space. But you never know what you might turn up in this series. And with that, I'm going to allow myself to say Carpe Noctem in the final view of last night's video. Okay, our last Carpe Noctem view of the evening, and you know what this is. It's one of the few winter sky globular clusters, Messier 79. I really like globular clusters. Maybe there's a bit too many galaxies at times, and then there in the summertime you get quite a few globular clusters. It'd be nice to have a decent mix. So here is our 150x view. It's a pretty deep south globular, dropping it back down to something that looks halfway decent. Messier 79 is a globular cluster in Lepus, the Hare, magnitude 7.7. Kind of small, 7.8 arc minutes, but it's fairly distant, 42,100 light years. RA is 524.10 with a declination of minus 2431.27. And this is going to be our Carpe Noctem view. But you know what I want to do? I do want to play a little bit with the histogram. Normally I don't play with it because it does a bit. Once you mess around with it, it stops. My experience has been it stops going ahead and automatically selecting for you. But what I'm doing is lining up the histogram to the point where it just makes contact with the bottom horizontal x-axis, where the signal just makes contact with the bottom horizontal axis. Now I can brighten the field, but I don't like that. So I look for where there's a discontinuity in the curve, the peaking of the curve, and I can set the histogram right about where it starts rising again. And let's push it up a little bit further and then see if we can't get a view without those control bars on the right. And that concludes our NGC 1450 to 1499 series, plus a few additions. Carpe Nocte.